Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Constellation software shares are now down around 30% from its recent all-time high share price. In fact, the stock never fell more than 25% before, so this is the largest drop in the share price of Constellation software in its entire history. In this video, I'm going to discuss why the stock is crashing and what I am doing with my shares. For those of you who are not familiar with the business, Constellation Software has a long history of success, largely due to its decentralized and highly effective acquisition strategy. The company buys small and medium-sized vertical market software companies that provide niche, mission-critical solutions like air traffic control software that's managing traffic lights, tunnels, toll systems, the internal management systems for hospitals, and emergency dispatch systems. They then allow these software businesses to operate with a high degree of autonomy while providing best practices and capital for new deals. This model has led to exceptional returns for the company. For example, the stock is up over 700% in the last 10 years, which significantly outperformed both S&P 500 and S&P TSX even after the recent drop. These recent drops started with worries about the impact of AI and generative AI on software businesses. Constellation Software share price was declining modestly together with all other software companies in the market, companies like Adobe and Salesforce. On September 22nd, Constellation Software held a conference call to address investor concerns about artificial intelligence. In this call, Mark Leonard, the president of Constellation, mentioned a very interesting example of the impact of AI in radiology. He mentions that in 2016, it was believed by experts in AI that AI will completely disrupt radiology and most radiologists should lose their job due to effectiveness of AI in image processing. Let's hear this short audio clip from Mark Leonard about this interesting example from this conference call.
In 2016, Jeff Hinton made a long-term forecast. For those of you who don't know him, Jeff is known as the godfather of AI and is a Nobel Prize winner for his work in the field. And long-term forecasting is very difficult. I talked about this before, and I'm happy to send you some source information if you'd like to delve into that further. Jeff's forecast in 2016 was that radiologists were going to be rapidly replaced by AI. And specifically, he said, people should stop training radiologists now. And in the intervening 9 years since he made that forecast, the number of radiologists has increased from 26,000 in the US, these are US board certified radiologists, to 30,500 or a 17% increase. Now that's outpaced the population growth in that period. So the number of radiologists per capita is up from 7.9 to 8.5. Now, Jeff wasn't wrong about the applicability of AI to radiology. Where he was wrong was that the technology would replace people. Instead, it's augmented people. The quality of care delivered by radiologists has improved, and the number of practicing radiologists has increased. So I told you the story to make 2 points. Firstly, you and I will never know a tiny fraction as much about AI as Jeff did. And secondly, despite his deep knowledge of AI, he was unable to predict how it would change the structure of the radiology profession. So I think we're at a similar point today with the programming profession. It's difficult to say whether programming is facing a renaissance or a recession.
As Mark Leonard mentioned, AI did actually impact the field of radiology But it didn't mean the demand for radiologists decreased. In fact, it caused a boom in demand for radiologists as the efficiency and accuracy of their diagnosis increased dramatically using AI tools. He mentioned that AI will also impact software development, but we don't know if the result is increasing the demand for software developers and software businesses like what happened with radiologists, or if it causes disruption and less demand for software developers and software businesses. He's basically being honest about it. He doesn't know and he cannot predict the future. This is why investors love Mark Leonard. He says it the way he thinks it is. He's not trying to boost the share price of the company by saying AI will not impact Constellation software business at all. He says he doesn't know the impact, and that is the reality. The market expected Leonard to say AI impact will be minimal, and therefore after this conference call, the share price of Constellation plummeted by over 9% in the span of 2 days. On the third day, the stock price started to recover a little bit, until yesterday happened. Yesterday, the company announced the unexpected resignation of the founder and president Mark Leonard for health reasons. The unexpected resignation of Mark Leonard is a major event. A lot of investors invested in Constellation software because of Mark Leonard, because of his extraordinarily honest dialogues with shareholders and his stellar capital allocation track record. So Mark Leonard was not a regular CEO or a president. It was the founder of the company who all investors believed in him and his words. Like what Warren Buffett is for Berkshire, Mark Leonard is an iconic investor and capital allocator for Constellation software. Mark Leonard has been replaced by Mark Miller, who has been in the company for more than 30 years and acted at various leadership positions in the company. Before this transition, Mark Miller was the Chief Operating Officer of Constellation, Executive Chairman of Volaris Group, and CEO of Trappist Group, all software businesses acquired by Constellation Software in the past. So I believe the company is in the good hands with someone who worked in the company for a long time and held various executive positions and shared the same capital allocation strategy and the same philosophy as Mark Leonard. Let's quickly look at Constellation official announcement of Mark Leonard resignation. Chairman of the board of Constellation said, "On behalf of the board and all of the employees of Constellation, I would like to wish Mark a full and swift recovery. Since Mark's original inception of Constellation in 1995, his visionary leadership, humility, and wisdom have inspired countless Constellation leaders and employees to build what has become a truly exceptional global software company." Mark Leonard said, "The board and I have complete confidence in Mark Miller and our executive team to execute on Constellation business plan. Mark Miller has been a trusted advisor and a driving force within Constellation executive leadership team for over 30 years, and I can think of no one more experienced, knowledgeable, and capable of lead the company at this time." Mark Miller also said, "My first thoughts are with my friend and colleague Mark Leonard, and I join the entire Constellation community in wishing him a complete and speedy recovery. Thankfully, Mark leaves Constellation exceptionally well positioned to continue the trajectory of accomplishment and success we have experienced under his leadership. Working with our proven team of exceptional managers, capital allocators, and employees, I'm confident we will have a seamless transition and deliver ever-increasing value to our shareholders and our customers." Okay, now, what I think about the impact of AI and future of Constellation. I don't believe AI will significantly pressure margins or affect the company's acquisition strategy. Constellation businesses are using AI to improve efficiency and develop new products, and I believe the history of high security of data with Constellation businesses and close customer relationships provide a strong moat that makes their specialized software difficult for new competitors to replicate with generic AI tools. Mark Leonard is a legend, and he's still with the company in the board, but I believe he was not really managing the business for the past couple of years anyway. He's really old. He really cannot work at Constellation forever, and I understand that he needs to focus on his health, so transition to a trusted manager was the best way to move forward, exactly like what Warren Buffett did with Berkshire. In terms of the valuation, I recently valued Constellation software and my bear case share price was around $3,400, base case was $5,200, and bull case was $7,200. I believe it's rare for such a high quality business like Constellation software to trade close to my bear case estimate. In fact, this happened only a couple of times before, once with Meta and once with Brookfield. Both of them were my top performing investments in the next years after their undervaluation. For valuation of Constellation, you should not look at price to earnings. You should look at price to operating cash flow or price to free cash flow. And the stock is trading below its historical multiples today, while they are still growing their cash flow by almost 20% year over year. They have 3.5% operating cash flow yield, and they have invested all of their cash flow at excellent rate of returns with over 20% returns for decades. Very few companies can achieve this. So higher multiples for this company in the range of 25 to 35x of operating cash flow in general is not unreasonable. For those reasons, I bought 3 more shares of Constellation at $3,700, $3,800, and $3,900 inside my TFSA account, and it is now by far my largest investment I ever made in a company inside my registered account. I now own 8 shares of Constellation, and I started to buy its 2 spin-offs, Lumine and Topicus, in my new portfolio in Interactive Brokers as well. Today, Constellation share price seems to be continue to slide to lower levels. I will hold my shares for now as I don't have more contribution room in my TFSA, and I really can't raise more cash by selling other shares anymore. But outside of my TFSA, I am ready to buy even more shares of Constellation spin-offs at these levels. I believe the upside potential at this price range is much higher than the downside risk, as all the downside is based on fear and sentiment rather than fundamental changes in the business. So I'm willing to make this bet on this amazing business. That's it for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Farewell.